Dedicated to the review of striking headlines in the papers. And on today's edition of the program, the newspapers are telling us that President Paul Biya has sent out congratulatory messages to the Egyptian and Senegalese teams, not leaving out the captain of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon and the president of the Confederation of African Football for an excellent organization of the tournament in the country. We shall tell you more in this edition of the program. Meanwhile, the non-governmental organization, I'm talking about Human Rights Watch. Human Rights Watch has hit hard once again, accusing the military of the Republic of Cameroon of having committed gross human rights abuses in the far north, northwest, and the southwest regions of Cameroon. We shall equally tell you more on the World Report of Human Rights Watch that was published recently. Bomotonguina, Gwladys is here with us. Let's find out what the French newspapers gather for us this morning. Bonjour Gwladys.
Bonjour Lasha. Bonjour à vous et merci une fois de plus de nous retrouver pour Debrief, votre émission bilingue de revue de presse sur ma Media Prime Télévision. Alors ce matin, nous allons débuter avec le journal Le Jour qui nous parle de la disparition du poulet dans nos assiettes. En tout cas, la grippe aviaire est de retour à l'ouest Cameroun. Les détails sont en pages 2 et 3 de ce journal. Affaire de meurtre au Lamida de Garoua, les suspects déférés au tribunal militaire. Les détails sont en page 5 de ce journal. Costa Rica 2022, les Lions U20 n'iront pas à la Coupe du Monde. Les détails sont donc en page 12 de ce journal. Nous continuons ce matin avec le journal Mutation qui nous parle de choléra, progression mortelle, une trentaine de morts en 3 mois dans le sud, le sud-ouest et l'extrême nord Cameroun. Les détails sont en page 5 de ce journal. En page 7, le journal nous parle d'une innovation. Le centre de numérique a été inauguré. En page 9, le journal nous parle de l'OAPI. Les salaires ont été vus en hausse. Nous continuons ce matin avec le journal L'œil du Sahel qui nous parle de 10 cylindrés immatriculés Cannes 2022-21 saisis en Gaoundéry. Les détails sont en page 4 de ce journal. Yaoundé, le Cameroun digital, le centre a donc été inauguré. Les détails sont en page 3 de ce journal. Septentrion, le chèque santé couvre 42 et 55 districts. Les détails sont donc en page 7 de ce journal. Nous terminons ce matin avec le journal Le Messager qui nous parle de la Cannes Total Énergie Cameroun 2021, l'heure de la reddition. Le président de la République qui a promis un cauchemar aux prévaricateurs en 2022 parlant des personnes qui ont détourné les fonds publics au Cameroun. Il est donc vivement attendu sur la pelouse des auditions. Les détails sont en page 3 de ce journal. En page 12, le journal nous parle de Unisport du Honcam, un buffleur auto-proclamé PCA. Voilà tout, madame et messieurs, pour cette revue de presse en langue française. Place à la découverte de ces journaux en langue anglaise avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you, Bomotonguina, Gwladys. This morning, let's kickstart with the Sun newspaper. The Sun newspaper this morning, like I earlier mentioned in my introduction, is focusing on the report of Human Rights Watch World Report. In its 2022 World Report, the respected organization accused the warring parties of the Anglophone crisis in the northwest and southwest regions and Boko Haram insurgency in the far north region of committing human rights abuses, mass killings across the respective conflict-hit regions. And on pages 6 through 12, the paper presents to its readers Project Logbook of Public Investment Budget 2022 for the Northwest region of Cameroon. The paper is also reporting that President Paul Biya has congratulated Cameroon Customs for collecting over 1,000 billion francs CFA revenue in 2021. And on page 4, the paper reports that that the army has neutralized a dreaded Ambazonia general in Moyoka subdivision, Fako division of the southwest region of Cameroon. On to the Guardian Post newspaper. The Guardian Post this morning is telling us that at least 2 persons are said to have died in Balikumbat village in Gokitunja division of the northwest region after men in military attire stormed funeral ceremony. According to the paper, a group of men in military attire believed to be soldiers are reported to have Sunday, February 6, 2022, stormed a funeral ceremony in Balikumbat subdivision of the northwest region. 2 persons were later found dead. Amongst those who perished after the soldiers accessed the funeral ceremonial ground was a man whose identity locals said they could not immediately establish. He was found in his own pool of blood at a popular junction in the said village. On page 2, the paper tells us there is renewed hopes in Douala bus transit project, as the World Bank Group has revealed that the mass transit bus system in Douala will take off this year, as funds are likely to be disbursed soon. According to Roger Mbassa Dine, who is the city mayor of Douala, the renewed hopes in the project code name Rapid Transit System are based on the fact that the World Bank has confirmed it will finance the project, which will improve mobility in the economic capital of Cameroon. Meanwhile, on page 5, visiting UNESCO boss has hailed government's support to institution. The accolades to the government of the Republic of Cameroon came from the Director General of United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, Audrey Azuli. She expressed her gratitude to the government for its multidimensional support to the institution to enable it attain its objectives. On to L'Action newspaper. L'Action is revisiting the just ended AFCON 2021. The paper describes the successful organization of the tournament as a major accomplishment for Cameroon. Get details of the organizational skills of Cameroonian authorities and the legendary hospitality of Cameroonian people that made the event colorful, only on page 9 of this edition of L'Action newspaper. Cameroon Tribune is focusing on the congratulatory messages of the President of the Republic of Cameroon, Paul Biya, concerning the just ended AFCON 2021 to his colleagues of Egypt and Senegal, and to the President of the Confederation of African Football, Patrice Motsepe, and the captain of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, Vincent Aboubakar. President Paul Biya congratulates the Teranga Lions of Senegal for their victory, and it was also their very first time to lift the prestigious trophy. President Paul Biya also saluted the brilliant performance of Egypt and also lauded the perfect organization of the tournament, which according to President Paul Biya was the fruit of a win-win partnership between Cameroon and the Confederation of African Football, CAF. And finally, he called on the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon to get to work for upcoming competitions. Thank you, televiewers of My Media Prime, for watching. We are back in the studio to continue with our discussion this morning, and we are, of course, receiving Amadu Tarnteh, who is a human rights defender. He's here with us this morning. Good morning, Amadu, and welcome once again.
Thank you, and good morning once more again. Good morning to the telespectators of My Media Prime Television. It's always a pleasure for me to be a guest on your program here.
It's always a pleasure to have you too to talk matters of human rights. And today, the papers are telling us that Human Rights Watch has once again stinged the government of the Republic of Cameroon and the separatists as well. We are talking about the atrocities or alleged atrocities committed in the far north, northwest, and the southwest regions of Cameroon by warring parties in both conflicts.
Actually, this is not the first time a report is coming as such. We have been working, same like Human Rights Watch, other national organizations and international organizations have been working to make sure that we document the cases and report same to put pressure, to call for national and international attention for people to know exactly what is happening on the field, because the atrocity has continued even on page 2 up till now. Just I think about, even apart from the report from Human Rights, about 3 days ago, the military and some group of Fulani in Mukuru, an area in Menchum division still went and burned to destroy some building, and a permanent typer was killed, and another person was equally injured on the nose. So these people, I don't know why they are continuously committing all this type of atrocities, even though and they believe that one of the greatest issues here is that the government has not been calling all those who are contributing this kind of order.
How would the military accompany villagers to go attack another community? Is that not funny?
So the issue is that it is the military leading a group. Sometimes the issue is that when the military come and meet you, they will tell you that you should take them to a particular direction. If you don't accompany them, you still be on danger. So you still be on problem. So the issue is that you are never left with no choice than to accompany them, because sometimes when you refuse accompanying them, they might equally kill you.
And the military are indigents of that particular community that are attacking the other community?
No, the military are not the indigents of that particular area. Those military are coming to they came to, according to the source, the information we received from whom. Those military came from the central town of Wum. They left from the central town of Wum and came to Mukuru, where they were accompanied with these Fulani herdsmen who went around looting, destroying properties, and even killing some of the armless civilians in the area.
So it's quite I mean, a terrible situation there that such things have to be repeating themselves over there in the northwest when we are crying for peace to return in the two English-speaking regions.
Exactly, that's the issue. That's why we have been calling on the President of the Republic to make sure that he investigates all such crimes and make sure that those who are perpetrating such crimes, grievous offences, are called to book. They are investigated and prosecuted accordingly. Because when the government keep remaining silent and not taking concrete actions to make sure that those found guilty of such issues are sent to prison, it will give the opportunity for others to continue going around perpetrating such acts, because the other ones who did last time are going free. They are not being punished. No, maybe it's the instruction from their hierarchy asking them to go about and begin to loot people's property, kill civilians, and even loot properties as well.
C'est so sad there. Gwladys.
Effectivement, moi j'ai une question qui me taraude l'esprit, c'est pourquoi est-ce qu'il n'y a pas une méthode pratique pour ces organisations humanitaires, question d'amener peut-être, je ne sais pas moi trop quoi, les États ou bien les endroits où il y a les conflits ou violations des droits des hommes à être changés, ou bien d'une manière pratique, au lieu de parler seulement,
to respect
au lieu juste de parler, parce que
treaties and conventions that the government of the Republic signed. Because those are gross human rights violations that go against the fundamental human rights and some ratified conventions by the government of the Republic of Cameroon, and the international community seemingly is looking away from those atrocities.
Yes, the issue is that the international community or these organizations have their own role to play, because the government as a state has its own role to play, and these organizations have their own role as well to play. Because when we come in as organizations, our own role is to monitor, document these cases, and make the world know that this is what is happening in Cameroon. This is why the fact that Cameroon is a signatory to this convention, we make sure that we call the attention of people to make sure that they make the Cameroon government to be aware that she is committing or perpetrating these crimes who are in violation of the treaties and the conventions signed by Cameroon. Because we are on the role of this organization is to put pressure, and Cameroon too, don't forget that Cameroon too is a member of this, or when Cameroon you sign a convention or a treaty, you are equally a member of that convention, and you equally have rights though as well as responsibilities. So that's why we are continuously monitoring or documenting and publishing all these reports to make sure that the other organizations or the other state parties to know that the Cameroon government is completely going against this international engagement. So we are continuously calling on the government to make sure that she respect all her international engagement.
Donc en dehors de dénoncer et parler, il n'y a rien de pratique.
Non, comme les organisations ou bien les sociétés civiles, nous avons le droit de pression. Nous avons notre force à
parler.
Oui, de parler, parce que our major issue is to make the world know that this is what is happening in Cameroon.
So is that for the international community to take
action? Because if we don't notify the
action, what kind of action can they take concretely to stop the warring parties from committing such atrocities? We are not talking only about Wum. Balikumbat, we are told that men in military attire attacked or stormed a funeral in Balikumbat, and later on several persons were found dead, some on the streets, some major junctions.
I believe there are many actions to be taken. So it can start with the suspension of Cameroon from some of our international engagement, as well as international intervention, because the international community, when the United Nations Security Council, the United Nations Security Council can send maybe a group of military or anything as such, come to Cameroon and get engaged into the issue directly, to see how they can intervene and for us to see where the possible way out of the crisis, and there are many other things as such.
Et jusqu'à quel point il faudrait arriver avant que ce genre de
mesures... That's what I'm saying, that the international community will first of all give the opportunity, when there's a crisis as well, first of all give the opportunity to the conflicting parties to make sure that they do everything possible to solve the problem within themselves. It is when they get to a certain level, they keep giving them the opportunity that I said Cameroon is a member and Cameroon has the right to
the issue we have here is that the Cameroonian government is regarding what is happening in the northwest and southwest region of the country as an operation to maintain peace and order.
Which
they
is
have not yet
false.
accepted that there's a war in the northwest and southwest. They still see it as an operation to maintain peace and order in those English-speaking regions of the country, with the exception of the far north region.
No, actually,
we are talking about the three
that one
regions.
is false. That's something the Cameroon government. That's why this international.
So what is the difference between the operation of maintaining peace and order and a full-blown war?
Operation of maintaining peace and order is when there is instability in a country, like what we have here in 2008 and anything as such. But what is going on in the Anglophone region is pure war. That's why we are making sure that we document all these cases and report to the international community. So who
qualifies what is an operation to maintain peace and order and a full-blown war?
I don't think it is qualification. I think if you look into a dictionary and look the meaning of what we call war.
No, I'm talking about the international convention and whatever stuff that you guys are, you guys are very much aware of. I'm talking about those conventions, international treaty and whatever. In what situation should such things be qualified as a full-blown war? Because when the government says it's an operation to maintain peace and order and people are dying, the international community is looking away and is not saying anything as to whether it is a full-blown war or it is an operation to maintain peace and order.
The thing is that it depends on the crimes that is being committed on the field. Like what happened in Wuchi, we just made a report with the Mandela Center International in regard to a situation that happened recently in Wuchi, where a separatist fighters, an alleged separatist fighter who was wounded, was being carried out of Wuchi for treatment, and the government, the defense forces intercepted the vehicle and refused that they were not going to take the person out of the area, because those are some of the things when the government is claiming that what is going on in the Anglophone region is not war. That's what another way of diverting the international community attention from what is going on. But that's why we continue to make sure that we report the situation. And
is the international community so dull that they are not seeing what is being documented by international non-governmental organizations with the help of NGOs or civil society of Cameroon?
No, I think they are seeing everything, though they might have delayed to take action because they are seeing everything, because if it's not the first, if they are not being first or second, in fact, we have seen on many occasions where the United Nations have made statements with regards to what is happening, as well as African Union and any other organization we think that can take concrete action. So the government should make sure that make sure that their forces respect the international humanitarian law, because we are in a full-blown war in the Anglophone region. There's nothing like maintenance of peace and maintenance of order, where many thousands of military have been killed. And civilians' houses of many villages have been burned down to ashes. Civilians are being killed on daily basis, and the government is still claiming that they are in the situation of maintaining public's disorder. That one is false. It's not what is happening in the Anglophone region. We are having a full-blown war going on.
Ok, Gwladys.
Je suis un peu étourdie parce que je ne comprends pas pourquoi est-ce que les Human Rights ou ces Human Rights Watch vont dire peut-être que les hommes ont tenu, les militaires ont attaqué les populations et c'est une violation des droits des hommes. Et quand il s'agit peut-être des séparatistes qui font pire, on n'en parle pas.
Non, on parle de tout. On parle de tout. We are the Human Rights Watch. We are neutral. All these organizations, we are neutral in the way we do our things.
But the way this non-governmental hammer on the government,
permit me say that
they are soft with the other party. Yes. They hammer so hard on the government.
Yes,
why?
The issue is that government is an international, government is a recognized institution that has signed treaties and ratified these treaties. And the separatist fighters have not signed anything. They are not recognized in any way. Any international community are not recognized in that sense. But the government is signatory to the international convention. The government has to respect all in international engagement. So that's the reason why, even though we are talking with the separatist fighters, because what the separatist fighters are doing is unacceptable. They are abuse of human rights. But the government should be called accountable, because the separatist fighters cannot take any initiative to solve for there to be peace. It's not only the government that can engage in a dialogue or anything for them to stick and make people well solve the problem.
Comment on peut demander au gouvernement de parler de dialogue quand on appelle le dialogue, les gens ne viennent pas?
Qui appelle le dialogue? Les gens ne viennent pas.
On a vu le grand dialogue national. On a appelé ces séparatistes. Ils sont.
No, the government was acting on without what the national dialogue government was acting with bad faith. The same people we have given international warrant arrest against them. We go about inviting them when the international warrant arrest has not been cancelled. It doesn't make any sense. So those people are not fools. If any of them came here, the person would have obviously arrested. That's why we are always soliciting for a neutral ground for there to be what we call dialogue. So it cannot be anything. What
that neutral ground will be what? Like
no, it can be any other country out of Cameroon. Because cannot call those who are government considered as enemy and call them.
But nobody is willing to take part.
It's the government that's not taking a serious measure. Because the government is the government.
Why must it be the government to take this?
That is the reason why I told you that the international organizations are hammering more on the government, because the government is a signatory of international convention, and the government is the only person that can call the other warring parties for them to come and sit down with them to discuss. Because those people have no legitimate power to call the government to come and sit down with them and discuss.
And those who are who are abroad and they see what they do on a daily basis, they are now fighting amongst themselves, and people are dying on the ground. Is it not time that the international community or the countries hosting these people, they should hand them over to the government of the Republic of Cameroon?
No, it's impossible. I would earlier say here that these people have the right to self-defense. So the problem is that the modus operandi, the way they are using in doing these things, and most of them are concentrated. It's similar as they concentrate mostly on power issue, forgetting what is going on the ground. At least that's why we have always solicited for these separatist leaders to make sure that they unite within themselves for them to have one voice and speak on one voice. Because when they unite, their voice will be more stronger. Because had it been they were acting under one umbrella, I think the government, they would have called the attention of the government for them to call for something like a dialogue for us to seek for amicable ways out of the crisis. But it's regrettable that even the government is not serious. The last time we saw the Prime Minister in Bamenda, he went there and made numerous fake, I don't know if it's fake promises and all the up to date, nothing has been done. The Prime Minister made a lot of promises to the Anglophones, made the Northwest and the Southwest, and up to date they have not done anything. But I don't know why the government too is not taking the matter serious. We are calling on the separatist fighters to make sure that they unite within themselves so that they can have a stronger voice.
But don't you think that they have lost all credibility now in the faces of the international community, the government, other partners of Cameroon and partners of human rights? After multiple violations of rights, talking about shooting, attacking schools, hospitals, and other institutions that are protected, are supposed to be a no-go zone during war.
Yeah, that's why I was simply saying here that both the separatist fighters and the state forces, they are committing grievous offenses in the area. So when they are doing so, that's when if they have lost credibility, same as the government has lost credibility as well, because all of them has lost credibility due to the inhuman treatment that they are, or the kind of barbaric activities that they are carrying out on the ground. So we are equally praying that separatist fighters, they too should be called to order so that they should avoid attacking schools or civilians who are not directly engaged in the war.
Okay, thank you very much, Amadu Tarnteh. Before we leave, we have barely 2 minutes to the end of the program. Let's talk about these congratulatory messages of President Paul Biya to the captain of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, Vincent Aboubakar, and to the president of the Confederation of African Football, Patrice Motsepe, not leaving out the Egyptian and Senegalese teams. President Paul Biya yesterday wrote to the various party concerned, and he equally congratulated the local organizing committee, FECAFOOD, and other stakeholders of the African Cup of Nations. President Paul Biya seemingly is happy so far, the work done so far.
No, actually he should be happy, because it's not easy for a country to organize a tournament as such and go. Let's say when it's history, though we see had a lot of problems at the issue of the Stampede Day and any other little misunderstanding that came as a result of the AFCON, but we thank it's a great move taken by the President of the Republic to congratulate the government, to congratulate this part, all Cameroon, all the other African countries that were involved.
But someone said yesterday that this congratulations, we are only looking at the flamboyant opening and closing ceremonies. We are not looking at the economic aspect of this competition. What Cameroonians have sacrificed in terms of money, what they have sacrificed to make sure that this cup was played in the nation.
No, it's true. At least we should look at the...
And we are already being told that Cameroon has to pay, Biak has to give some money to Biak, 32 billion francs CFA, money that was borrowed for the organization of the African Cup of Nations, so many things, more tax on Cameroon, prices of basic commodities and the rest.
Pour les villages de la Cannes qui n'ont pas pu rentrer dans leurs investissements.
Yes. That's always a problem, because most often when there's something as such, we have to look at it in all directions, all the other angles. We should not forget particular people within the...
So we just say it is our own sacrifice as Cameroonians to see that the cup was held in Cameroon. Well,
somehow we can say that it was sacrificed.
If you don't sacrifice something, you cannot have anything.
Business, at least you make business to succeed or to fail, because when you are engaging in anything which is business, you should be knowing very well that anything can happen. In fact, you can end up reaping a lot from your business and end up losing, as the other people, as you just cited here.
Okay, thank you very much, Amadu Tarnteh. Thank you to televiewers of Media Prime Television for taking our time to watch this other edition of the program, which was produced for us by our very, very humble technician, Tebong, Christain. And we were Bomotonguina, Gwladys, and myself, Lasha Kinsley. Tomorrow is another day. Bye-bye.